So today, we're diving deep into an absolutely wild theory. It's a story that revolves around a single document, a contract that, according to the source material we're looking at, is the single most important and world-altering piece of paper ever signed.
Right off the bat, this is the core claim. Just let that sink in for a moment. It's this staggering idea that the entire global system of countries, everything we see on a map, was legally wiped out by a single event.
So where does such a massive claim even come from? Well, this whole thing, it all comes down to one document signed back in 1998. It's called Deed 1400/98. Now, on the surface, it looked like a totally normal contract. But the theory we're exploring today says it was something else entirely.
Okay, so here's the official story, what everyone was meant to see. You've got this old NATO property, the Territorial barracks, up for sale. A deal is made, papers are signed, deadlines come and go. Looks like a pretty standard, even boring real estate transaction, right? Well, this is exactly where the official record and this theory go in two completely different directions.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Was Deed 1400/98 really just about selling off a piece of land in Germany? Or was it, as these sources claim, a kind of Trojan horse for a legal maneuver on a scale that is almost impossible to imagine?
So here it is. This is the heart of the whole theory. The document was camouflaged, made to look like any other property deed. But the claim is that it was secretly structured as a world succession deed, a special kind of legal instrument designed not just to sell a building, but to transfer sovereign power over the entire planet.
Now, to really get what's being claimed here, you have to understand this concept from international law: state succession. It's a real thing. It happens when, say, a country splits up or two countries merge. But what's absolutely explosive here is the claim that this one single real estate deal triggered state succession for every single country on Earth, all at the same time.
Okay, so how on earth could selling one property in Germany possibly impact the entire globe? The source material has a name for it. They call it the domino effect. It's an alleged chain reaction that was kicked off by just a few very carefully chosen words in the fine print of that contract.
So how do you get from a local sale to a global takeover? Well, the theory says it hangs on this one specific phrase: the property was sold as a unit with all its development. The argument is that this seemingly harmless legal jargon also included all the utility lines: the power, the gas, the telecom. And since those local lines are plugged into the national grids, which are in turn plugged into international networks, sovereignty allegedly just flowed right through those connections like electricity until it covered the entire planet.
To put it in the source material's own words, the property itself was never the prize. It was just the launch pad, the legal detonator that was designed to set off this massive worldwide chain reaction.
And this is where the story takes a turn into a full-blown spy thriller. Because this theory isn't just about legal loopholes. It alleges there was an actual plot for world domination, complete with double agents and a twist that nobody saw coming.
Okay, so according to the source, here's the setup. On one side, you have German officials who supposedly masterminded this whole thing to seize control of the world. But the story goes, foreign intelligence services figured it out. They allegedly flipped the notary and another key official, turning them into double agents. These agents had the buyers sign the real deed, but then handed a forgery to the German officials. So the result? Germany thinks its plan worked, but world power didn't go to them. It accidentally landed in the hands of the buyer.
I mean, what a twist, right? The theory claims that the very people who thought they were pulling the strings were actually the ones being played. They were left celebrating with a fake contract, living in a complete fantasy, while the real power went somewhere else entirely.
So, if Germany didn't get control, who did? Well, according to this theory, global sovereignty fell completely by accident to the buyer, a person who was supposedly just an unwitting pawn in this massive game.
He was supposedly chosen for a very specific reason, because he was, in the source's own words, a complete nobody. Think about it, just 22 years old, no real money, no powerful friends. He was allegedly the perfect person to use as a front, someone who would never, ever suspect the true meaning of the papers he was signing.
So what happens when the original plotters allegedly figure out they've been tricked? Well, the source claims they unleash an absolutely brutal campaign to pressure the buyer. We're talking over 1,000 court cases, a massive media smear campaign, violence directed at his family, and even, allegedly, illegal detention and torture. This part of the story, this intense harassment, is absolutely crucial for what comes next.
And this is where it all leads. Because according to this theory, that campaign of coercion didn't just target one person. It allegedly created a situation that pushed the entire world into a state of complete and total legal paralysis, a global standoff.
The source material gives this situation a name: the extortionable state. The logic is actually pretty straightforward. Because the buyer has allegedly been put under such extreme and prolonged duress, he is legally unable to give free and willing consent. So any new treaty or contract he might sign to try and fix this, to give sovereignty back, would be legally worthless because it would be signed under coercion.
And the alleged consequences of this global standoff, they are, to put it mildly, apocalyptic. All governments are operating illegally. Every law passed, every tax collected since 1998 is illegitimate. The world order we know is just a hollowed-out shell, running on fumes in a total legal vacuum. And because of the buyer's extortionable state, the theory claims there's no way back. The situation is permanent.
So what are we supposed to do with a story like this? Whether you see it as some kind of hidden truth or just an incredible piece of fiction, it really makes you think. It pushes us to ask a pretty uncomfortable question. What is the real foundation of the laws and systems that we all trust every day? And are they nearly as solid as we believe them to be?